Lenning's or Clarksville Seafood? Well, it was Clarksville till they pissed me off, but I won't deal with them because of some shit they pulled where they released a kid with autism when they found out he was getting paid, and he's a relative of one of the people that works there, and they let him go because they found out he was getting paid when new ownership took over. And it's all relative shit, and when I mean relative, I mean they're all relatives. And anybody that a little kid go with autism, due to we're paying him, can kiss my ass. And they were rude to me, they were rude to my family, the new owners were. I'll never fucking eat there again. And so when it comes to that, I mean, whose fish is better? It was Clarksville's. But that tells you how firm of a stand I'm making here. I ate there for free for many, many years. And when you treat a kid like that, fuck you. I ain't going to participate in your business anymore. So that's why I don't eat there. And a lot of my other friends will not eat there anymore either. So, but that is why. Now, whether they ever hired that kid back or not, they went out of business for like 4 months. Claimed they were doing remodeling, but the talk was they were remodeling for 3 days and would open back up. They opened up about 4 or 5 months later. So, no, you'll never see me in there again unless that new owner goes away, and I don't see any signs of that. So as long as that owner's there, I'll never set foot in there again. So that's where we stand with Clarksville. How's the King's love life? Well, she was just on here chatting with me, so I guess this is still going pretty good. I didn't see that she broke up with me on here. That would be embarrassing as shit. Do I like barbecue ribs? I like barbecue more than I like ribs. But I love good pulled pork barbecue. Just had some last night, as a matter of fact. Questions. Have you ever met Sting? Yes. Wasn't that big a deal. Any thoughts on Al Snow? Al and I are old buddies. We've been friends for a long time. Haven't had a lot of contact with him since I left OVW, but Al and I were fine. We did pretty good together. And him and my son had a couple of issues, a time or two, booking issues at OVW. But no, I like Al. I got no problems with him. He's a good guy. Any thoughts on Al Snow? Just read that. Another one on Al. Everybody wants to know about Al Snow. I offered a contract to manage Roman Reigns. Would you accept it? It'd have to be a hell of a goddamn contract. Alice Ratley. Well, we ran her off and she hid, and she did a damn good job because I haven't heard a word from her since she left. How is your relationship with Paul Heyman? I don't hate Paul. I just don't get his booking. His booking in the South did not work. His shit don't work in Philadelphia, and our shit would not work there. And I tried to explain that to him for several months. He never caught on. So I went away for a few months until WWE fired him, and then I went back to OVW. So wasn't that I didn't like him. It's just his shit wasn't working here, and I didn't want to be a part of it. Thoughts on Austin Idol? Great guy. We're friends on Facebook. My son's favorite, he said Austin Idol should have had the Hogan run, that he was better talented, a better wrestler, and a better entertainer. And I agree. I think overall, Idol probably overall was better than Hogan and probably should have had that run instead. But, Hogan was a lot bigger physically and I guess fit the bill for what they wanted to run with. You can't really say that Hogan didn't have some magic about him, so it worked pretty good. Your buddy Flash joined your live feed. Oh, did he? I didn't see him in. Hello, Flash. I didn't see that you enter. Flash was, I managed him at IWA, which I don't even like to admit that I was there, but I did. And managed him there, and never managed him at OVW in the 17 years I was there. And never really even had a running feud with him. Rico did a little bit. But no, somehow Flash and I just did not really cross paths much in OVW. And how that happened, I'll never know, because he was a babyface a good chunk of the time he was there. And, of course, I was always a heel, but never with that piece of shit Thieneman. Kevin Thieneman, another one of my longtime, old-time friends. We've been friends since 1990 when I worked at Humana together. And Terry Funk cut one of the goddamnedest promos on Kevin Thieneman, never meeting him, just hearing his name. And I asked him, here, will you say a few friends to my friend Kevin Thieneman? He's my supervisor at work. He was then. We put an end to that shit later. But he cut a promo on Thieneman and basically called him Thieneman and said he was a laxative. And he said, that's right, Kevin Thieneman, you're the drizzling shits. And then Jimmy Cornette walked by and leaned in and went, "Fuck you, Thieneman," and stole the whole goddamn promo that Funk had just done. And I've got it on videotape. Me finding it would be 1 in a million. It's in a storage shed. And goddamn, I'd love to see that again. Kevin had it, and I think he lost it. So Johnny Jeter, how you doing, Johnny? Johnny Jeter, one of the all-time OVW greats, and had a great run in the WWE. Was in there with the Spirit Squad, and one of the top wrestlers we ever had here. He was talented as shit, and I love Johnny to death. And hello, Johnny. I'm flattered you're even in here listening to this shit. Why did you never recruit me to Bolin Service? Because you were too good to be with me. That's why. That's why I got Mike Mondo instead. I got the shittiest one of the Spirit Squad, so I took Mondo. They made me take Mondo. I was laughed at for taking Mondo, that he was going to kill my streak of putting people into the WWE. And then that little shit went up there and had a good run, and has done okay in the ROH. And but yeah, Jeter, you were too good for me. The fans liked you too much, even though you got one of the biggest heel responses ever in OVW history when you and Dean Hill got into it. So yeah, Johnny's one of my old buddies, and pardon me, I'm just dealing with a little bit of a cold here. Would you go manage Shinsuke Nakamura? I love Shinsuke. He's the only reason I even remotely like wrestling at all anymore. I had tears in my eyes when he finally made SmackDown. I've watched him on NXT. I'll watch anything that I hear that he's a part of. His entrance makes him like Steve Austin. Steve Austin's not the same guy without his music. I think most people would agree with me on that. And Shinsuke has got the entrance. He's got the look. He's got the work. In my opinion, he is going to be the biggest star that SmackDown's got. I don't know if they're going to make him face or heel. He can do either one. It looks now he's going to be a face, so that would be my guess. I'd love to see him and Cena work a match or two, but I'd love to see Shinsuke work anybody. And I also love Asuka. I called her Asuka forever, but Asuka is great, and it should be a Japanese takeover. They are both fucking great. It's good to be the king. I love you too, Kevin, and it is good to be the king. It's always been good to be the king. It was good to be the king when I ran Kroger. It was good to be the king when I ran the mortgage business. It was good to be the king when I ran Humana, even though you were my supervisor. And it was good to be the king when I was running the wrestling business around here at OVW for quite some time. Would I ever do TV again? I don't see how, because it would have to be close, and I've already said I won't do OVW anymore. They really broke my heart when they refused to help Rico. And there's a statement called "the enemy of my, the friends of my." I've done fucked it up. So Jimmy applies it to him and Bischoff being friends with Russo, and I forgot how the saying goes, and so I'm not even going to try. But I think some of you out there know what I mean. But I don't see how that would happen. Have I ever met Dean Ambrose? No, and I don't get him. I don't get the what popularity he had. Apparently that popularity is, according to the booking committees, in the shitter right now, because he curtain jerked on the pre-show and wasn't even in, and it was a title match. And he was in the pre-show of WrestleMania, and he was the world champion about a year or two ago. So he has dropped off the radar, at least as far as the booking committee, and I don't get him. I don't get the popularity that he even did have. But apparently that has took a hit. Kendra NXT thoughts. I don't really know anything about Kendra. I mainly watch Asuka and Shinsuke, and if it ain't them, I don't really see it. Why wouldn't they help Rico? I'll have to go into that at a later time. I don't know why. Well, I do. They heard a rumor that Rico had said or did something at WWE, which was bullshit. And myself and Mark Henry and Jackie and various others know it was bullshit. And but for whatever reason, Danny and Dean wanted to think about whether they would help Rico or not, and they needed to consider that. He's a brother. He's fallen, and I don't care if it's you, Flash. I don't care if it's any OVW talent who is fighting for their life. Especially here I am, 57 now. Rico's just a year younger than me, and the WWE wouldn't help him. The cops wouldn't help him. Well, goddamn it, there's enough of us in the wrestling business. I mean, I personally, by getting the word out there about him, combined with some other help, we raised him $10,000. that not only really helped save his life and got him on the medications he needed, but financially helped him a lot to get his mortgage paid, to get his car payments paid, to put food in his house. He was eating tuna once a day. He was in bad shape. And he's the brother. And I'm not looking at anybody's questions right now, so if you're asking them, you'll have to ask me again. But he's a brother. And unless that brother has fucked us over in some way, which God knows Rico didn't, Rico really carried wrestling around here at OVW and was the showcase babyface for quite some time, and then one of the top heels for quite some time, just like yourself. And there's another one that I don't think too highly of right now that you feuded with, so I won't mention his name. But no, if you were fighting for your life and someone said, well, Flash Flanagan did such and such, or he was supposed to have done such and such, so we're not going to help him. Well, fuck you. You're now on my shit list, and so yeah, that's why they're on my shit list.